Hi everybody, thanks for watching Access Hockey MI. Thank you again for thanks for watching last week's video too about Tim Stützle.
Yeah, nailed it.
I always say that wrong.
No,
We really appreciate you watching our videos and talking to us via the comments.
And not mocking us too bad for how poorly we say foreign
we
names.
We try, and I think you know that we try so hard, so we appreciate that. Today we're going to talk about 3 new signings to the Griffins right now. So it could go to Toledo, could go right to the Griffins. Mm-hmm. It could go either way. We're going to talk about 3 of those guys who are all from the NCAA, so all from college circuits, and we just loved that fact in itself. So we're going to talk about those 3 guys, and that's basically it.
So
stay tuned.
Before we start rolling into this, it's worth mentioning that this offseason is going to be pretty heavy for Grand Rapids and Detroit with how many contracts they have that they have to figure out what to do with unrestricted and restricted free agencies coming up. There's 13 of them, including Svechnikov.
With just the Griffins.
Yeah, it's insane. So we've got Hirose, Svechnikov, Turgeon, Wood, Elson, Ford, who's our captain, Kessner, right, Bumpel, Spezia, Tangradi, Terry, who's amazing, and Vela. So that is a lot of big production guys. Yeah. Potentially not returning to the Grand Rapids system.
Not only big production, but common names to Grand Rapids so far because they've been with us 2-3 seasons.
Solid leadership in a lot of them. So what we're kind of speculating and thinking is that there's going to be some big shifts in these next couple months, especially as free agency comes rolling around. There's always shifts that happen. So with these 3 new guys that we've gotten from the NCAA circuit, we're thinking they're going to fill some holes. The first is Tory Dello. He did make his debut in Grand Rapids the last game they played of the season, but he came out of Notre Dame, so fighting
the Irish.
He was their alternate captain and had 13 points in 37 games. So it is worth mentioning also he's a defenseman and 23 years old. So he's kind of already up there as far as age and development goes.
Right off the bat, I think Rachel already said right off the bat, off of another bat.
We have multiple bats we're going off
We're going to go off of a lot of bats today. The common factors between all of them is that they've all been through all 4 years of schooling, so all 4 years of the developmental college NCAA circuit. They're coming from popular and very good hockey schools, and some of you who don't like these schools because you're passionate fans, we understand.
We get that. We understand.
But they're great developmental schools, and they're all around the same age, so 23, 24. So that means they're a little more mature, A, in their hockey sense, B, in their lives, hopefully. If Ideally. I mean, college doesn't always mean that, but mature play, mature in their lives, mature in how they handle their training, their health, all that kind of stuff. So we're thinking that this kind of goes hand in hand with so they don't have to have their hands held so much in development, except for the fact that they're going to a pro league. So she said Tory Dello. The next would be Max Humitz, who's 24. He's from Lake Superior State University. He's a forward. He had 35 points in 41 games played just last season, and he was, I believe, a captain. He was the captain of Lake Superior State University, so
really
he's a centerman. Yeah. He's on the older scale again, 24, younger than me. But it's worth saying that that's some important things.
Absolutely. And then we got Patrick Curry, who's also 24, also was a captain in his final season with Boston University, also a forward, also had 32 points in 34 games.
So you're seeing some production here, too.
There's a bit of a trend happening. So just kind of like what we already said, it kind of seems like Grand Rapids is already kind of restocking in preparation for this free agency. And it's not to mention there could be some roster shifts with guys getting pulled to Detroit. So in the defensive standpoint, you still have Joey Hicketts, you have Dennis Chalowski, which everyone still has a lot of hope in, and sarcasm.
Well, I do. She doesn't.
I don't.
We don't.
Sorry, Chalo.
Sorry.
Anyway, so with that, we kind of think they're trying to prepare for that, which is what happens in the off season. But also with the fact that we are restocking a little bit. There's not a lot of prospects that are young. I mean, we just signed Albert Johansson, but there's not a bunch more beyond him that are ready to make that jump.
A lot of them are still developing over in their European leagues and their junior leagues. In college, maybe so far, just starting out, just because they were just drafted. So that really goes hand in hand with what's going on here.
Filling the gaps a little.
But we've been proponents of NCAA development just because we've seen Dominic Shine be an excellent example. He came from there. Taro Hirose was doing really well at the end of the last season.
We had Luke Esposito for a time, Jared
Savages. So we've seen a lot of promise in these NCAA contracts that we've gotten. And I think usually, Rachel made this note earlier, is that, earlier when we were talking, not when we were talking to you, but earlier,
now we're talking
how they're signed just to the Griffins or just to Toledo. So they don't have to worry about a 2-way contract with Detroit, so they don't have to worry about paying them a 2-way salary sometimes.
It does affect the cap.
So it's going to affect the cap, and these could be just diamonds in the rough, kind of like Dominic Shine, who was a diamond in the rough. He's a fantastic player. He's only grown in his ability, and I think that these 3 guys could do the same thing, where they add a lot of spunk and spark to the team.
Yep.
They come with their leadership abilities and their development from all college, playing in tournaments, and they just bring that to the table. It's going to be a difference, as many of you know, because they play less games in college. Yeah. It's just they play like more than half less of the games.
Yeah.
So that's usually the difference, but at the same time, they do like practice every day. And,
right. And it weeds it out towards once you get past that 34, 35 game threshold too, you can kind of see if they're able to take on to that development. But with all of this too, a lot of it could point to the fact that we have a lot of youngsters right now that will be entering their second year or third year pro in Grand Rapids that aren't quite ready to make that jump yet. So Joe Valeno, we don't know if Moritz Seider is going to be pulled up
Not
sure
yet. Really about Philip Zadina. That's kind of up in the air.
Michael Rasmussen, still a little bit of question mark. They're still developing, so these guys can come in, not only learn from them what they've learned in being pro, but also share with them what they've experienced being that they are older. They have played longer. And another thing that kind of brings to mind is that it looks like they might be creating, in that sense, almost a new vet corps. It's not to say that they won't sign the veteran leadership again.
It's not, yeah, exactly. And it's not to say that these guys are only ever going to be AHL. They could go up. They could go NHL, honestly. If you surprise, I mean, there's so many undrafted.
I mean, again, look at Hirose. He started his rookie year off in the NHL,
right,
and then got sent down. So, I mean, you never know with these contracts how it's going to work and how the seasons will play out. This last one was a little wacky and how it ended up.
Yeah.
But with this, they're getting a lot of leadership experience and they're getting a lot of developmental experience, which is just going to only make our prospects even better. And then, once they kind of filter out who's going to stay a little bit longer, when the young ones are ready to make that jump again in Toledo or in Grand Rapids, there'll be a good batch of guys there to help them along.
Yeah, so again, it's not to say that we're not going to re-sign some of these vet contracts that we've got. We don't know yet. It's a little early in the off season to say that, but with all that being said, we're really excited for these NCAA contracts that are coming to us in Tory Dello, Max Humitz, and Patrick Curry, because I think just based on the fact that they are all huge production guys, so the points that we gave you aren't just in like the last year, they also had great previous seasons, so freshman to senior in college, doing really well in these tough schools and in these tough divisions. I think that's really encouraging to see, and I think that, of course, you got to get over the hump of the games, the extra games, the fact that it's pro ice, the fact that it's probably starstruck, when you get out on the ice and it's like, this is in college.
I do feel bad. Dello's first game was the last game of the season. The poor guy was thrown around a lot in 24 hours.
Yeah, and these guys, they could go Toledo. Yeah. You never know. They signed the Griffins first and then they swapped between
we think Toledo's an amazing developmental organization. They're great. The ECHL is way underrated.
Yeah,
I think.
They are. And so is the NCAA, I think, in a lot of times. But yeah, those are the 3 guys that we recently noticed on the latest signings of the Griffins. Let us know what you think.
That's what a signing looks like.
Let us know what you think about college development, about these schools, because we know you have opinions.
Which of these free agents would you sign? If you could pick 3, which ones would you keep?
Yeah, so she gave the list, but you can also find the list on the Griffins website because she just listed them and you can go find them. Let us know what you think in the comments. We really appreciate it when you guys interact with us because we love to hear that and we just love to talk hockey. So talk it with us. Speak it to us. And we will see you next time. Bye, guys.